the answer to all your burning questions.
And welcome everyone back to the Anime Declassified Secrets podcast. I am your host, Miguel Moreno, and I am joined by resident JoJo's expert, Mason Picard.
Picard. But yeah, hello. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good. Also with us is Connor.
Howdy.
Anthony.
Yo.
And the chief himself, Rizwan.
What's up, guys? How's it going tonight?
Pretty good. Today we are discussing the second episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, where we were finally given the tremendous opening.
Oh god, it's beautiful.
Yes.
It is so great.
It was perfect.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think out of all the openings, visually, this might be my favorite one.
Right?
So when I first started watching that opening, I was like, oh wow, this is a typical JoJo end opening. But then it got better. And then it got more better.
Yes.
And then it kept getting
It's
better.
like
And then
like every time-
fighting goal.
yeah,
You're
it's
just
like,
waiting
it's
for that,
felt
weren't
like
you?
Yes.
every
Yeah.
5 seconds it was just getting better.
It really ramped up well. They knew what they were doing. Now, I can't confirm because I was into JoJo a long time ago. I didn't read Part 5 because Part 5 didn't really have a very good translation. I wanted to wait and see what would happen. Well, now that we have this, I'm getting more into it. And from what I understand, there's some pretty good foreshadowing in the opening.
Oh yes,
Reddit-
most definitely.
Those
I
change
just-
on
All I
everyone.
can say is I have a friend who said, "Oh, I saw this thing and grabbed my chest and screamed, 'No!' when they foreshadowed it in the opening."
Oh
my God.
yeah, it did.
That's-
Oh my god.
That's what
Go ahead.
I was gonna say. That's usually what they've been doing with like a lot of the openings since like part 3 with End of the World. They just foreshadow a lot of what's gonna happen to a lot of the main characters, and you know.
They did it in part 2. They did it in part 2 as
I
well.
was gonna say they've been doing it for a while. I mean, we saw the ending of Part 1 with the mask falling into the ocean. Obviously, what happens to Dio and Jonathan. Part 2
Yeah.
with Caesar's Haman bubble. They do that a lot. So after you get done with each part, you go back and you see the opening, and you're like, "Holy cow!" They foreshadowed a lot.
Yeah, because I went into the first 2 parts of JoJo blind. I know a little bit about part 3, but I read ahead of I read part 4 on the manga, and part 5 and part 6. So I knew what was going to happen for each of the parts from then on.
So I literally came into JoJo's knowing nothing. One of
I
my
did
really
too.
good friends that I work with told me to watch it, but then he started controlling my life a little bit on how I watched it. So I couldn't watch any YouTube videos pertaining to JoJo's until I was done with the entire thing. And so like one day I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to forget that rule because I really love the music.
Right?
So I'm at work listening to the music, and he walks by and looks at my screen. He's like, "Riz, what are you doing?" I'm listening to JoJo's music because I love it. No, Riz, what version of the song are you listening to? So he took my mouse, looked at YouTube, was like, "Riz, stop that video right now." And I'm like, "But I've heard the song before." No. Trust me, I'm doing you a favor. And then come to find out a few months later, when I finished it, that the ending of the song was altered around the end of the season to have more stuff added to it. And that was the version I found on YouTube.
Which one?
Oh,
Was it
For,
great?
part
Day?
was it part 3? Oh yeah. I know what
Yeah,
you're talking
part
about.
3, where they do the Worldo.
Oh yeah,
Oh, they get the
So-
voice actors to do the fight
Yeah.
scene.
yeah.
And I didn't know what I was watching. I was like, hey, this is a really good song. I love it. I'm going to listen to this while I'm working on stuff. Nope.
No,
Not
So
today.
then after I was like,
done
okay,
goofed, Riz.
it's good because
like I knew if he had just said it as a spoiler in some versions of the opening, I would have been like, okay, cool. He never told me that.
right.
I feel like
so-
a spoiler warning ahead of time would have been a little
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they when
Well,
Great
that's-
Days
I'll be
first came
confused because
out.
I've never seen an anime do that.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
have y'all ever seen an anime do that before? Because I've never seen an opening do that.
I've seen
Like foreshadow
somebody,
things. It depends on
Like
which
to that
show it is.
degree.
not just
Nah.
that, but kind of changing the opening is all. Not too often. Like they may change the visuals a little bit, like in terms of new characters, old characters. But what they do in JoJo's, where they like kind of integrate some whatever's going on into it. Like I didn't know about the world stopping the intro when I was watching part 3, and so when that just came up, I'm like, what?
Yeah, that kind of took me out of the blue. I was like, whoa, like I didn't expect that to happen.
And that's why I regret
And
listening to the full version of Great Days, because throughout that I just like hear backwards going, and I'm like, what? Why is this going back in time? And then when I see Bites the Dust, I'm like, okay, I know what's gonna happen in the next opening.
It's just I just watched these blind. I didn't watch them ahead of time.
Yeah.
At
I
least
watched
the
the
openings- at least
entirety
the
of parts
openings at
1 through
least.
4.
Because like I
See-
said, I've not read part 1 or 2, but I have read a little bit of 3 because I watched the OVA of 3 as well,
Oh,
and
God,
I've
the
read the manga
OVA.
4 and 5 and 6. So I know a little bit what was going on, but I'm going in blind when it comes to part 7 and 8. I have no idea what's going to happen with that.
Oh, see, right now with the JoJo's fandom is every time that there's a new opening, there's always a constant fight over like what they think is like the best one. Everyone I've spoken to, or like in the JoJo's community, has always said it's either Great Days or like the Sono Chino Sadame, the first one.
Yep.
And now everyone's saying like forget our opinion about this. Like the new opening for part 5 is like top tier.
It's really good.
I know a lot of people who like Bloody Stream.
I was gonna say, I think I see
But-
Bloody
and-
Stream in
and
Great Days.
Funny thing is that Coda, the guy that sung Bloody Stream, actually did sing this song as well, Fighting Gold.
It's really that's really funny because people are saying like, oh, we like this new version, this new Coda song better than Bloody Stream, and I'm like, guys, it's the same person, but okay, cool.
Man,
I like it. But it's okay to like a different song more than like somebody else, because like, it's made the same person. It's a different song, it's a different music. With the different instruments are being integrated into the song, so I could see why they're like, oh, I like this song, but I like this song, even though it's by the same person. The music and the lyrics are just different. Not to be like, hey, I like this song better than I like the other song.
Yeah.
Case in point, Ride the Lightning, best Metallica album. It was released in 1984. Way better than the Black Album with Enter Sandman released in the 90s.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, there you go.
I'm one of those.
But that's for another podcast.
See, I'm one of those Injustice for All heretics. So
That was another good one.
Fair
But
point.
I'm actually kind of excited because this season there's a lot more music references than in a few of the past seasons, because literally a lot of the characters are weirdly named after foods, and now there's going to be like so many more music stands that like I was very excited reading the manga. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of artists that I'm enjoying that they're going to be referencing.
But here comes the copyrights.
Oh yeah, the copyrights are going to be insane, and I'm like, good luck getting around those guys. Like,
What, you know,
oh my
Superman
God.
Superman is not an amazing name.
like I don't know if you guys talked about it in the last podcast, but there was actually a Part 5 video game that came out in Japan.
It
in
did.
the
Yep. Mhm. It was for PS2, I believe.
Yeah, PS2.
That sounds familiar.
And the reason it never came out in America was because of Prince and his music copyright.
Yep.
Yep.
Really?
So I think like,
Is
Yeah.
very protective about his stuff.
Very.
yes. So now
And
that
It was
Jeez.
even tougher now that Prince, sadly, rest in peace, Prince.
Peace,
He was a great
yeah.
artist. He
no,
has passed on.
his music copyright now is like, there's a reason that all of his like work is now on Spotify, because
Yeah.
he just
He
decided
was
when
the
he
one
died.
protecting it. Yeah.
So now it's like it's free reign.
Exactly. It's
Yep.
why a lot of his unreleased stuff finally got released. Just because he's like, well, if I'm gone, there's no point in hiding it. But back in the 90s, early 2000s, when Prince was still fairly big, it's understandable why. And, not just Prince, but we have a lot, and I mean a lot of stands named after bands in this one. And
Bands, music, man, like
songs, albums
too.
Yep.
One of my
Unfortunately,
friends-
we've already seen this in Bruno Bucciolati's stand.
Zipperman?
No,
Yes.
I will never call it that name. Never.
So,
I love
No.
Zipperman.
Please
for
do.
those not in the know, when Bruno Bucciolati reveals his stand during this fight in the train, he calls it Sticky Fingers. You can hear this in Japanese. However, because Sticky Fingers is the title of a Rolling Stones album, and the Rolling Stones are still around, they decided to change it. Change it to what? Now, you could have done
Zipperman.
this in a certain thing like what they did in part 3. Jay Guile. Well, Jay Guile is an artist, the Jay Guile Band.
Mm-hmm.
They changed his name to Centerfold, which is a song by the Jay Guile Band, still keeping a reference. Or Oingo and Boingo. They translated the name in the subs to Zenyatta and Mondata. Zenyatta Mondata is an Oingo Boingo album.
Actually, it's
What
a
did they
police
call-
album.
Oh, it's a Police album. Yeah.
Yeah,
my
it's
bad.
please album.
So what do they do for Sticky Fingers? Zipper Man.
No.
No, it makes me worried for like the upcoming characters because there's a lot of stands I want to talk about, but I feel like it's gonna be a little spoilery for people who are just keeping up with the anime.
Mhm.
But the
Yeah.
main villain stand is one of my personal favorite 70s prog rock bands, King Crimson.
Yes.
And I'm just worried about like what they're gonna do with that, because people were saying like, oh, they could just say like Crimson Emperor or something like that, but it's like, no, King Crimson is actually the only musical artist who's acknowledged JoJo's
Yep.
Mhm.
being referenced. Like their
Oh,
frontman,
really? I know that.
yeah, their frontman Robert Fripp, and actually made a post about it on Facebook like a year or two ago, and everyone in the JoJo's community lost their mind because like the running joke in the fandom is, how does King Crimson work? So to like,
Yeah, exactly. Because even when the episode comes out, we're gonna be like, we still don't know what he does, what his ability is.
oh no, I have all my King Crimson memes saved for that day. I'm good.
Yep.
The answer to it is the same as, why do kids like Apple Jacks? We just
They
do.
They just do.
It just works. It just works.
It just works.
But like, I'm really hoping that they're the one that's going to be like the one stand. They're like going to be able to be like, oh well, we got blessings from the band to use the name, so let's do it.
Right. But sometimes it just comes down to the band may say it's okay, but lawyers and whatnot,
Oh,
those
Even if they say it's okay, like the lawyers and stuff, like no. This is
yeah, it's not so much that the lawyers, it's like the music label they're signed to.
Like,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
weird because it happens a lot with fan games. Like even when famous examples with Nintendo, it's like their lawyers always do it just like out of habit, just like out of instinct. Like they see something, they have the lawyers,
Well, and a lot of that is
Cosmos.
because their contract basically says in ambiguous terms,
mhm,
if you see anything, you need to hunt it down and stop it.
exactly.
pretty
Because
much
it's
like with the YouTube
copyrights.
community.
hmm
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't ask questions, you just do it because that's your job. And that's what it says in your contract. When the contract is that vague, you're not gonna ask questions because Reggie or whoever is signing your checks, and you're gonna hit it because that's what
And-
you do.
And the same thing goes for musical artists and whatnot. It's
Mhm.
like they have their lawyers, ready because
Oh, yeah.
your name
See-
basically is you don't want that kind of ruined. Like they may make an exception, or they may just kind of forget about it. And so whenever it happens, they may be able to tell their lawyers to back off, but they may just go Crimson Emperor like they did in some of the games, just so they just avoid any kind of legal things whatsoever.
Yeah. See, I'm just glad that Araki didn't name anybody after anybody from Death Row, like Ice Cube or NWA, because then we know there wouldn't be a lawyer. See, Suge Knight would just show up at his house with a crowbar.
I actually, in part 5, there is
I was gonna say
a stand named after a rapper.
Yep.
Yep.
I know what you're talking about too.
Did Suge Knight hear about it? Because he's not going to be happy. Well, I guess it doesn't matter because he's going to
he said
prison
come in
now.
he said come in and like shoot Araki's kneecaps out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the rapper was an East Coast one, so Suge Knight would have gone after the East Coast rapper first.
Yeah.
Then Araki.
Yeah.
He'd be traveling all the way to Japan. Listen to just look some Haitian dude like, where he at?
Oh God.
But yeah, speaking of Zipperman, that fight between Bruno and Giorno. Oh wow.
That fight though, oh my God.
I love the fact that like it wasn't just your typical like just punch, fist, kick type of fight. It's like all about strategy. That's what I love about part 4 onwards. It's just strategy.
Not just that, but most of the time whenever, and this is more towards Giorno, whenever we see the protagonists, go into a fight, their whole thing, just rapidly punch someone. Jotaro Star Platinum, punch. Shining Diamond, punch. Giorno, I have to think this through real quick because I have no idea what my stand does. I don't know how his Zipperman does. So he was fighting tactically. They were dodging. It was like watching a boxing match between those two.
It's cool. It's cool knowing, like, because we all remember how Jotaro was like, "Oh, I don't know what a stand is," but he kind of knew I can attack with it. I can get stuff with it. I know it has.
Well, it sounds like an.
Whereas
I think it's kind of instinctively for them.
Yeah, whereas Giorno is so far removed from his stand, he just doesn't understand it. And I really think that's a neat approach. Him learning about the stand and not looking at the stand as a thing that has powers, but as a living creature that follows him and has a life of its own.
Well, that's the thing is like with Goal Experience, all he knew about his stand was just, I can make living things out of non-living things, and deflect attacks. But all he knew about Sticky Fingers was just, it can create zippers on anything. Yep. How can I use this to my advantage? And the punch he threw that like kind of knocked Bruno out of existence, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's when he realized, I have it can do this now. Cool. And that's funny enough. Something that people didn't like about Goal Experience going in later in the series is just they felt like Araki kind of forgot how it worked.
Yeah.
So they're good. So this is basically like, I'm relearning my stand all over again.
Pretty much. Because he never really experimented his stand like that. He kind of just like, well, if you do this, I'm just gonna use it this way, and and just move on.
It's like the kid in the fight, and it's like kids in the fighting games when they first get it. It started as like mashing the A button and like punching, but then over time they're like, if I press B, I can kick. But if I do A and B, I can do.
Funny you say that, Riz, because Jojo did the same thing when he fought against one of the dang, I forget his name. Dark Brothers, Dark Brothers, one of the Dark Brothers, yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and
it's exactly like that. It's the kid.
Yeah, but then with Giorno, it's just he goes for like the character that like when you button mash, you just find out like the secret hidden attack, and then it's just like, I can one hit KO with this. Cool.
Yeah.
And
it's like he did the I'm trying to remember who it was in Soul Calibur who like if you just button mashed and like it was like the crazy dude with the swords, and like he used them like to walk on. Used to walk on them.
Yoshimitsu?
Voldo.
Voldo, yeah.
Oh,
He was like
Okay.
he was basically Voldoing it, where he's just like, I'm just gonna button mash and just see like how I can OTK with this.
Yeah, and the stand abilities are getting more very complex. We're far removed from my thing can breathe fire, my thing stretches. Now it's like I can go into things with these zippers and hide or take control of them and put things in you, and whatever gold experience does, because I still don't think they're done showing us what its full extent can be.
Oh no, they're gonna expand on that in later chapters. From my point of view, I know like part 3 was just the basic introduction of like these are what stands are. They're basically your punching ghosts or your fighting spirit personified, and they get cool powers based on like your subconscious or your conscious.
Yep.
And now it's just like now basically you have to be a theoretical physicist just to understand like even one of their abilities.
Yeah. They're getting crazier, so I can't wait to see what the other ones they introduce. The guy with the guns, that looks like a fun one.
Oh yeah,
Sex Pistols, yeah.
With Mista.
See, I'm more excited to see Purple Haze in action. That's
me too, man.
That's gonna be the craziest yet like most depressing fight.
So, they're changing up the fight, but before they actually went into the fight, we saw more of Giorno's backstory, and from what I understand, the first few episodes started showing some things out of order than how it was in the manga.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, manga confuses me from comparing her to this.
This is something that they've done before. A lot of times they'll show things out of order to do a decision based on pacing.
Yeah.
Story flow.
That makes sense.
I have actually had people who loved part 4 because they did that when they showed, I guess they showed the thing with the salon out of order, but when they did that, it really affected the pacing in a positive way. And so
the pacing was a lot better when I watched the anime.
Yeah, like the in part 4 they had like the full day of like everyone having their own individual fights. But what they did was they actually put it out of order. But it worked.
Yeah.
And that was the day where we had Cheap Trick, the Tower, and then the book? Or was that something else?
I know
you're talking.
Not the book, but the guy who like turns you into paper, essentially.
Yeah, I think that was all in the same day.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Rohan?
Not Rohan.
No.
Rohan had the guy on his back.
Oh yeah, Cheap Trick, the stand where it's like if you turn around and like tell someone about I exist, they'll latch on to the person you tell or who sees it, and then you die.
Correct.
Yep.
So that was actually pretty cool. The way how that worked. So if they're doing it out of order for kind of pacing purposes, I'm all for it. Because it would have been weird to see. Because if I remember, Cinderella was after Shigechi's death. In the manga?
Yeah, Cinderella was after Shigechi's death.
So you put that kind of order in the anime. You go from kind of Shigechi's death, how it works out, and then to Cinderella. Kind of a very, very different shift and change in tone.
And you could actually, if you think about it, it makes you kind of care about these characters more, even though they still like don't have much screen time. We're sure, but
Tonio.
You actually get you get to see more. Feel bad for these characters when they do meet their end. You're like, oh wow, like this girl died from such episode. Like because if they did introduce her after she gets she's dead, it'd be like, oh well, she died. Like she was in one episode, whatever. But then you wait and you're like, okay, so she was in an early episode, okay. Then you were like, oh, that's the girl from last time. You can go back and be like, oh, okay. Makes you just go back and think, oh, that's the chick from that last episode.
But yeah, anyway, back to the original thing before we went on that tangent.
Right.
Giorno's backstory, kind of just explaining how he shaped the way he was. With Josuke, they had that like brief little thing where he saw a dude with the same hairstyle that he thought it was cool. But in this one, he sees the gangster, and we see that the gangster, even though like he helped Giorno, he still, was doing bad things. He wasn't a righteous dude, but Giorno saw the way he was working, and he's like, he's trying to keep the streets clean by whatever measures he deems necessary.
And that's actually something that I find really cool, is that like they're pointing out like the everyone thinks the Italian mafia is just like running drugs and guns and like all kinds of stuff like that, but they're actually very opposed to the drug trade in the mafia, because if you remember movies like The Godfather and
the big plot of that one,
and Goodfellas, and also
Goodfellas, which actually, Goodfellas actually like takes a lot from Goodfellas if you think about it.
Because if you remember from Goodfellas, they said, we'll do everything else. It's just drugs we will not touch because that's dirty money. And the scene with the guy that Giorno saved is interesting because he's just said, we don't want to touch the drugs here. It's turning into an epidemic. We don't want to have any part of that, and they want to get rid of the people who are instigating the drug trade. And they're showing that like the mafia, granted they're doing a lot of shady stuff, they actually still kind of care about people and they don't want to see people die to the drug epidemic that's going on.
You got a bunch of junkies spending all their money on drugs, they can pay up to Big Tony and give them the protection.
Exactly.
That was beautiful. That was amazing.
That's all about
why are you not a voice actor yet?
Right?
I am not a voice actor because I'd have to move either to Texas or Vancouver.
Or New York.
I'm
sorry. I love Texas, but it's way too freaking hot for me.
And so, like, keeping up with, he saw, the gangster shoot the guy because of the drugs. And so you get at the end of the episode, and they bring that up again. It's like, Bruno, your guy is selling drugs on my streets.
Your boss is selling the drugs.
What I loved about the flashback was the fact that like they actually showed everything. Because in the manga, you only saw like a little bit of like pieces of information. You didn't really see visually what was going on. But here, it was animated. You saw what he was going through. What John was going through. You saw what he did to save that kid, to save that dude. You saw everything.
Yeah, I have a friend on Twitter who's big into JoJo's, a JoJo cosplayer, and she was talking about how, they extended that part for the anime. Yeah. That's really cool, and I didn't know that, and I think that's really interesting.
They actually extended a lot of stuff, like Giorno's stepdad. The part where he's acting nice towards him wasn't in the manga at all.
Oh wow!
It was only mentioned, but it wasn't shown.
That's
no. In the manga, it only said that he was abusive. They never said.
Exactly. It's like they never showed him actually using him. They just said it. That's what I meant. That's what I was talking about.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's one of the things you gain, I think, when you go to an anime. You do get to visually explore that. You do get to do more. When you get to show as opposed to tell, there's a lot more that you can bring to life, and a lot more. There's more that you can infer, and when you have when you're able to fill in the blanks like that, you're able to really, really like hook people even more than you would before.
Right.
Yeah, and I like that they've been taking advantage of that.
Yeah, and that's the thing I've loved about JoJo's itself, is like there's so much you can work with. That Araki just gives you like the template and like the bare bones, and he's just like, all right, here's what I have an idea for in this series. This is how I'm going to present it in my manga. If you guys want to like add on that, go ahead.
Kind of makes me excited for what they might try to do for part 6.
Oh, oh god, even parts 7 and 8. Like, I hope that if they get to part 8, they just explain so much, because part 8 is just so confusing.
I've heard,
That's like
hey,
if you're in
it's
part
part
8.
whatever. Nobody knows what's going on in part 8.
Part 8 is like, even in my panels, I just tell people like, part 8, your guess for the plot is as good as mine.
I heard 2 things out of context that I guess could be considered spoilers, and still maybe not even spoilers. Bug fights and rock people, and like that's all.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also, well, bug fights, rock people, and fights over fruit.
Mm-hmm.
So Kamen
also-
Rider game.
Yes. But also, it's basically part 8 is what people are saying is like part 8 is basically part 4 in an alternate dimension. So
Okay.
The main guy is also called Josuke Higashikata. But
and
returning to part 5,
yes,
we're still
Sorry.
ways
Anthony,
out
we
from
have so many
part 8.
tangents.
I know.
Yeah, we are still ways out from part 8.
I think it's just the
That's
nature of you and I being the same podcast.
We're like with Stan uses, we're just drawn to tangents.
I'm
But
sorry. I love going on JoJo's tangents. It's just my favorite thing to talk about.
Oh no, that's exactly what we do in this podcast and every other podcast we touch.
It does get
If
off
there's
the
a tangent,
rails.
we will find it.
Yeah.
But we aren't Ozzy Osbourne. We got to keep the rails on this crazy train. So returning to part 5.
Sure.
Oh, I like that transition.
I'm surprised they haven't actually named a stand after that crazy train.
Oh, just you wait. But
Oh boy.
part 5. So one character that's sticking out to me already, more than Giorno, Bruno. Oh my goodness, that guy is he's bae. Like, just kind of the way his attitude is, and like, I don't want to say arrogance, but just like the way he handles himself.
He's very professional.
He is a stone cold gangster, and he is well aware of it. This guy knows what he's doing.
Just like the way, going from the end of episode 1 into episode 2, Giorno, you lied to me, and now I gotta figure out why. Like, he immediately did not hold back.
That is the taste of a liar. Sono Shabana.
The classic tongue scene that we're gonna get in every JoJo series.
Oh my god.
Well, there's already a combination of Kakyoin, Rohan, and Bruno, which is something I didn't know I ever had to see in my life, but it happened.
Yep.
But you enjoyed it too, I bet.
Oh yeah, but Bruno, just like stone cold gangster, but you can tell he, like a lot of Italian mobsters, like, has that whole thing where drugs is the big no for him, and
like drugs are bad, okay?
Drugs are bad, okay?
And so it's exciting kind of to see how that character keeps going forward, because in typical JoJo's fashion, after the two guys fight, they come to an understanding and decide to team up. So I really hope.
I was gonna say, I really hope that like the next episode is just like we get to see everyone. 'Cause that's gonna be so fun,
right? Because they've been showing these guys off for so long, and I get it. You don't want to introduce everyone at once, but you see them in the opening, you see them in the endings, you saw their character preview.
Oh, and that we'll get to the ending. We'll get to the ending.
We'll get to the ending in a bit.
Oh boy,
We'll get to that in a bit.
But I was
Jesus.
I was gonna say, like, they're hyping up everyone, because like when they announced like who the voice actors are for everyone, like I was just like, this is like the best casting I've ever seen.
Right.
And as someone who, again, doesn't know too much about the characters in part 5, just like seeing some of the voice talent they got for it, I'm like, yeah, no, I can see this person playing this. Like Izuku,
like when you get
Izuku
two of the
playing.
big names, when you get two of the big names from My Hero Academia
Yep.
to voice two characters that everyone loves, it's just like. And then my thing is, I'm also a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan, so when I found out they got
Yes.
the voice of Yuya from Arc 5 to be Giorno, I was like, yo, I'm on the boat immediately. Let's go. Let's get on this hype boat.
Well, I think you're on the boat even before.
I was indeed on the boat before. I am on the Berserk boat.
It went from I was on the boat to I am on the boat 8 months in advance now.
I've been on the boat for like 2 years
now.
First class, high perks, let's go.
And then the boat sinks.
We ain't on the Titanic yet.
No, I'm talking about Titanic. I was talking about Dio's boat.
And we've come full circle.
Minor explosion. Won't derail this boat. Minor explosion. Won't derail this. But yeah, episode 2 overall, just like amazing. And it does the thing where you kind of want to keep seeing what's going on. It's like, all right.
It's just, like I said, it's building up that sweet, sweet hype.
Right.
So
just keep going.
Giorno says he's joining the gang. Go ahead.
The fight direction, the camera work, and the art direction for the fight sequence with the slow motion sequences and the really good use of CG, they're really, really pulling out all the stops. They're doing very, very well.
I feel like
I like that we've been seeing this.
It is one of the more popular parts over in Japan side, so it's understandable why they're going for it.
I feel like they've gotten like the biggest budget that they were allowed for this series.
Oh yeah,
because when it's Japan's favorite, they just handed them like 8 briefcases full of money, and it's just like, here you go, here's your budget, have fun.
And they know that like those Blu-ray sales are gonna like ching. That's gonna be tons of cash.
Because the part 4 DVD sales were amazing because they included the Rohan OVAs. So
what I'm hoping on those becoming available legally.
So what I'm hoping is there's actually you know how they have the novels and everything that are like, people are like, oh, they're canon, they're non-canon, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm hoping is that they have the Blu-rays, but they're actually going to have one of the novels, Purple Haze Feedback.
I have heard about that one.
Yeah, that's I think that's the only part 5. No, I think there's another one for part 5, but that's the one that everyone says, like, if they're going to do like what they did with the Rohan books, that's what we want to see done. And that would make logical sense for like to spike those DVD sales.
Makes sense.
Because I was talking with one of my good friends who has a friend in Japan right now, and he's saying like the part 5 figures are like flying off the shelves.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an anime just came out,
and some of those figures are very top-notch.
They are going to be expensive, especially when they start selling them online. Yeah. Ooh, they're going to spike like.
Well, like a few months before the series aired, like a Giorno figure was like $60 to $70. Now it's probably being like 130, 140.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Good luck.
Right.
Good luck with that.
But what I loved about the fight as well is just it's how the pacing of it worked, to where it's just everyone throws their punches, cool. Then they activate their abilities, and it's like, okay, that's gonna get a little crazy here.
Mm-hmm. And then just the way the fight ended, Giorno doing a throwback zoom punch on Bruno to get his senses into overdrive again.
Basically, just to smack him awake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then, the fight ends. He joins the gang. And we get what's probably the weirdest choice for a song ending.
Yeah.
With Midnight.
Yeah, the weird ending.
Dude, I cannot tell you how many times my mom listened to this song growing up. Well, when I was living with her. Yeah.
See, it's funny because it made me think of the song that connects to this also is that song Pony by Genuine.
I was thinking the exact same
my
thing.
God.
Yup.
So for me, when I was listening to it,
I thought it was gonna be Pony too. I was like, I think it's a pony. It's a
for
pony.
me, I'm just like,
I know.
Did they go out of their way to literally get a song by a group called Casey and JoJo for JoJo?
Yes, that's what I'm guessing.
But then I saw the group artist name and then did some research, and then that group actually split off from the main group who does part 5's ending, Jodasai. I'm like, yep, that explains why I could tell almost right away what it was. And I'm like, why? I didn't find it to be bad, but it was just like one of the more like,
yeah, I'm not gonna appreciate this song later on in later parts of this season. So I'm just gonna be like, oh, this is weird. Why are you playing this when that person,
See, I know everyone in the fandom was like, hey, they were having their fingers crossed, like Gangster's Paradise, or like
people were begging, like, please Gangster's Paradise, Gangster's Paradise. That would have been a perfect thing, but.
But like, because I think they just went off of it from, it's gangster. They're dealing with gangs. I'm like, y'all do realize Gangster's Paradise isn't like glorifying gangsters. It's like, no, this is rough and probably not the good life you want to live.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think they would want to do, because like some kids are probably going to see this and they're like, oh, I want to join the mob, and it's like, no, don't do that.
Well, and I don't know. I never thought we were going to get Gangsta's Paradise because it's like, with a song that popular, do you really think they were going to be able to swing the rights for that? I don't think so.
God, no.
I doubt it, yeah.
I was amazed, like, first season, they got, like, roundabout by Yes.
I'm not, because Warner Brothers owns Yes's catalog. So
did it really?
I thought it was going to be another Warner Brothers kind of division song.
See, I was looking it up.
Which is why they had Universal on there.
See, I was like looking up songs that like would have made like a bit more sense in like a 2001 context, and like there was like some Lenny Kravitz that would have made sense, or like someone said like, man, if they really wanted to meme on the fandom, they should have put All Star by Smash Mouth.
I know, right?
That's like the second time in a row they're trying to go for that.
See, people are always going to go... Dude, eventually people are going to say they should put Toto's Africa into something.
And
well, here's the thing. I think that it goes perfect because, I don't know, man. You see all them oiled up Italian dudes fucking flexing. You see all them flexing. And, hey, the opening song is right. You wake up feeling horny if you see Bruno Bucciolati flexing it. You see Giorno. I mean, they got those. They already looking like they're pulling their shirts off.
Though.
Bruno's 20.
Yeah, but like Giorno's like 15. Narancia's like 12.
Man, there's no way Narancia's 12. That dude looks too jacked.
No, he's like what?
12, 13.
Now let me go look this up real quick.
But yeah, no, it's still the oddest choice. But at the end of the day, it's not our call. It's not David Productions' call.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with like.
It's Papa Araki's call. And if Araki says this is what it is, I'm like, I agree with you, Araki. Let's go.
He's 17.
Man, I busted up laughing, and I think it's a hilarious choice for the ending, and I'm pleased, and I don't care.
I like it.
He's 17, so you're good.
I will also say I really liked Part 4's ending.
Oh my goodness!
The Savage
with Part-
Garden.
Yeah,
with Part
well,
4,
you
I
know,
knew
the
right
lead
away.
singer-
Savage Garden.
The lead singer from Savage Garden was like really into that.
Yeah, he liked it. He's like, "Hey, check out our single. It's the ending for this show."
Yeah, he was basically like, hey, look, a royalties check, and I can buy a house.
Again.
Like what Ween did whenever the SpongeBob movie used Ocean Man. They were just like at every show they introduce the song like, oh look, this is a song that the royalties check helped build our house.
But yeah, no. So it was an interesting choice. I'm gonna get used to it. JoJo's is probably gonna have like a top 10 single in Japan next week, just like Savage Garden did when I Want You was shown to be Part 4 thing.
And then Yes is Roundabout and Walk Like an Egyptian.
And Last Train Home.
Oh yeah, that's
So-
gonna be. It's just like
good.
I'm just like David Productions slides a briefcase full of money. If you can make King Crimson popular again,
Oh, I'm sure they will. But
Yeah.
wrapping this podcast up, overall, I think we all agree. Episode 2, top notch.
oh yeah,
Absolutely solid.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Looking
real
forward-
pumped to see what they do later on.
Looking
Oh,
forward
man.
to episode 3. I don't know if it was because it was just uploaded that day, but I didn't get a chance to see what the upcoming title for episode 3 was because
I think it's like
Crunchyroll
the
just
the
ended.
man the gangster behind the wall,
Mm.
where it's how Giorno gets inducted into the gang, and it's just like it's this crazy like initiation rite,
Ooh,
And-
baby.
and it actually has what people say is like one of the most terrifying stands in the entire series.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
I'm game.
Named after 70s metal group Black Sabbath.
Yep.
Sign
Ooh.
me up.
I am
Oh, yeah.
excited.
I'm
one of my
I'm gonna be
friends is-
interested to see how they animate this because that's gonna be pretty epic seeing
Yeah,
that
one of my
certain
friends.
stand in action.
Yeah, one of my
Oh, yeah,
friends has been posting this picture. He's like, "This meme I made like 3 years ago is finally gonna make sense to you guys." I'm like, "All right, I'll look forward to that." So he's starting to hype it up. I'm excited to see what Jordan's gonna do to get into the gang.
It's gonna be lit.
Very lit.
I'm ready. My ready is body.
It's also what my statement is a bit of foreshadowing. So
All
God dang it,
right.
Mason.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess
English
that is
major.
I guess that is about to do it for this podcast. Thank you everyone for
Indeed.
swinging by. Any
Woohoo!
final closing thoughts before we wrap up this bad boy? We'll start from top to bottom. Go with Anthony, Connor, Mason, and then Riz.
All right. I definitely enjoyed this episode, and my God, Fighting Gold has got to be like visually it's beautiful, but also the song itself, it just feels so. It's a lot of passion in the song. You know, no pun intended. It's just there's so many things about this. The animation was great. The backstory was amazing. Like I get to fully see it, like just firsthand how crazy his life is, and I loved it. 5 out of 5. if we were ranking it 5 out of 5, I'd rank it 5 out of 5.
Connor?
You know, I'm really, really impressed with the art direction, especially. I'm a little bit of a movie buff sort of guy, so any kind of like visual direction, art direction, camera work, although we're dealing with an anime, so we don't really have camera work per se. There sort of is. There's angles. I mean, our eyes are cameras when you think about it. So, like, just the scene construction and the art direction is really, really solid. You know, I like how the fights are. I like just how they're really using everything to their advantage and bringing stuff to life. Like in part 4, they were doing some amazing scene transitions. And this time they're doing the sort of cinematography thing. And that's really, really amping me up. And so, man, I'm all for it. I like when JoJo's gets into the kind of the offbeat, the strange, the more bizarre, I guess you could say, no pun intended, or was it? That's the stuff I'm gearing up for, and that's what I love about JoJo, and I hope to see even more of it in Part 5.
Mason.
Well, coming off of pretty much the solid Part 4 and having read Part 5, suffering through all those terrible, terrible scans, I am loving everything about this. I am loving, like, prior to becoming the anime, I love Part 5 was always like in my top 2 JoJo's. So seeing everything going on right now is I'm loving it. I love the fight. It was the pacing was perfect. It was a good introduction to what the stands have like can do and like how they can like basically just upgrade themselves whenever the character learns how to use their ability. Just Bruno just being a wonderful introduction to how the mafia's organization he's joining is going to operate. And just Giorno's backstory, it was so it was like with the extended scenes, it was just so heartbreaking because, you know, my first thought was just like, really, this is the person that Dio chose to bear his kid? All right, that's fine with me. And then just setting up for everything that's going to happen on later in the series, I'm just excited to see like the quality of the art, like also is just beautiful and stunning. And I'm like, I wish more series could be like this, but there's only one JoJo's, and
there can honestly only be one.
There can only be one. But I'm excited for the rest of the series and seeing how they're gonna pace everything out, because they said in a statement it's gonna be 4 chapters per series. Well, 4 chapters per episode, and they're gonna do 39 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, I'm excited to see a lot of the fights. I'm excited to see if they're going to expand on other characters' backstories. You know, so far I'm going to say this episode solid 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Let's see where it goes, boys.
Not too much water in this episode. Riz.
All right, so I'm going to keep mine short and simple because I feel like they've already said everything you can possibly say. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. I'm going to give this a gold star. There, I'm different. Look at me, I'm different.
A gold experience star?
I yes.
The fighting gold star?
Yes. I really enjoyed JoJo's a lot. I came into this like a year ago and have never regretted any episode I've seen. Even in the beginning when everyone's like, you're going to hate part 1, but if you get through part 1, you can love part 2.
I have
I'm
never
there
said
like,
that.
bruh.
I'll be honest.
Okay,
if anyone tells you to hate part 1, I can understand liking everything that came after better. Mm-hmm. But hate? Nah, part 1.
No, I can never
work so well.
Oh, absolutely not.
Part 1. So
Speedwagon's Bay.
So after I finished episode 2 on Friday night, I realized a friend of mine had not seen part 1, so we started playing it, and I'm like, okay, you may not like it as much as you like the other parts, but part 1 is really amazing. And he's like, okay, let's watch it. And we got through 4 episodes before we all had to part ways, and dude, we loved every second of it. At some point, I'm going to drag him on to do his little rant, because he has a rant that's just extra special compared to what we do, which I'll tell you all about offline. But anyway, I loved JoJo's. It's amazing. I'm on the hype train until the train ends. I may watch the manga. Wow. I may read the manga at some point, but haven't decided yet. I like not knowing what's going on. I like being surprised.
Yeah,
you like the running in the dark approach. Got it.
Well, and honestly, if Viz is going to continue publishing the manga like it is, by the way, It's worth it. They may cost $20 a volume, but boy, are they nicely put together.
Hardcover, baby. Hardcover.
Hardcover and
Ooh.
colorized. Anything that was colorized originally when it was first published is colorized in these hardcovers. They're absolutely beautiful. Please go and buy them if you want the manga.
I own all of them. I can confirm that it is worth. It is a worthwhile investment.
I just own parts 1 and 2, working on part 3. But
I think in Japan
I
they
own
just
none
said
of
that
it,
they started
obviously.
doing part 4.
But anyway, guys,
Well, that's cool.
as everyone else has said, awesome episode.
Yep.
Looking forward to next week.
Oh yeah.
We'll catch you guys all next time here, and we'll keep on fighting gold. Till then, you guys enjoy. And
Later.
thank you for swinging by.
See you around.
Adios,
Later.
everyone.